Good evening. My name is Juanita, and I would like to welcome you to our annual CHIPS Candidates Night. Before we get started, I would like to welcome Alicia Pardon to open up with a prayer.
Where's this coming from?
Heavenly Father, bless the leaders of our world and of our community. Grant them wisdom and compassion as they make decisions. May they seek justice, peace, and the well-being of all people, guided by your principles of love and mercy. In Jesus' name, amen.
Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. The Pledge of Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. The forum will be trustees and co-director for the CHIP and Gala. We're going to start tonight with Lorain County Sheriff Jack Hall. He'll be speaking on issue 1, sales tax for the criminal justice services.
Thank you very much. I think everybody should be able to hear me, but as your first speaker, I would like to acknowledge the last day of Hispanic Heritage Month and thank CHIP for providing this platform to address an informed community. I'm Lorain County Sheriff Jack Hall, and I support issue 1 and would like to tell you why. Issue 1 is a dedicated restoration of the 2016 quarter% sales tax. That revenue will be used to fully fund the Lorain County Sheriff's Office and dedicated to the operational expenses of the office. This is not a tax for the Lorain County Jail. Issue 1 is not an income tax, nor is issue 1 a property tax. It's a sales use tax which will add 25 cents to every $100 spent on taxable goods and services in Lorain County. In Lorain County, the average resident spends $485 a month on taxable goods and services. That amounts to $1.21 a month, which would go to fund the Lorain County Sheriff's Office directly. In Lorain County, this will allow us to continue offering the high levels of services that the Sheriff's Office provides to all Lorain County residents without burdening the county general fund, which we consume approximately 35% of that general fund. Issue 1 would raise nearly $14 million for the Sheriff's Office in 2026. Now I want to address some fallacies about issue 1 that have been circulating in the community. Number 1, issue 1 is not a tax to build a new jail. It's a direct funding source to the Sheriff's Office for annual operational cost. Jail construction must come from capital funds, and issue 1 is not a capital fund levy. Issue 1 is not an uncapped burden on seniors, families, and teenagers who make purchases on a daily basis. The sales tax is capped at 0.25% for the entire duration of the sales tax. The tax that stunts economic growth, it is not. Lorain County residents will still enjoy the second lowest sales tax rate in the state of Ohio, shared with 48 other counties. Now, one of the things I want to address is how we've been fiscally responsible with your budget and what we've already done. We've lowered our costs and we've negotiated and renegotiated all of our contracts that affect Lorain County Jail and the Lorain County Sheriff's Office. We used to have monthly prescription drug costs for the jail, which averaged $84,000 to $88,000 a month for prescription drugs. We have now lowered that to $40,000 a month by subscribing to a state plan through the Department of Rehabilitation and Corrections. Vending and food contracts were renegotiated to maintain current cost without increasing any future cost. The Lorain County Sheriff's Office, with 54th District State Representative Kelly Dieter, has introduced legislation which is House Bill 397, which directs prisoner commissary funds to be used directly for the benefits of inmates in order to help them out, and specifically with things such as medicated assisted treatment and other services that we can use directly for the inmates. To date, we have secured nearly $1 million in grant funding from the state and federal government to provide extra services to our residents in the county and here in the city of Lorain. What these benefits to all of us include: a $150,000 grant we received for de-escalation of mental health and developmental disabilities calls for service, which prevent the use of non-lethal and lethal force by our law enforcement officers for those citizens in need. $205,000, which was dedicated for opioid counseling for personnel into the jail, allowed us to hire 2 counselors. $135,000 in grants for inmate reentry services, which allows us to assist our inmates when they are released with housing, jobs, and placement. $330,000 that we received to combat labor, sex, and drug trafficking investigations, not only in Lorain County, but specifically here in the city of Lorain. $106,000 for traffic safety enforcement to make all of our roads safer. The sheriff provides police protection for the entire county, but we work specifically with your local police departments, especially the Lorain Police Department here, where we provide task force and intelligence services and assistance. We also run the county jail. A lot of times people understand, or they make the statement, what does the sheriff's office do for the county? The cities are responsible for the majority of the inmates who are placed in the Lorain County Jail on a daily basis. And we have, since I have taken office, have gone from a daily population of approximately 324 inmates to 409 inmates on a daily basis. We hold 422. My staff and I work diligently every day to ensure each dollar is sought and spent effectively and efficiently. We ask for your help to ensure a dedicated income stream free from the burden of the general fund. Further information can be found at lcissue1.com. I'm Jack Hall, your Lorain County Sheriff, and for $1.21, please support Issue 1. Thank you, and thank you.
Thank you, Jack Hall. Our next on the agenda is School Issue 21 and 22. Dr. Jeff Graham, Superintendent, Lorain City Schools.
Hi, my name is Jeff Graham. I'm the Superintendent of Lorain City Schools, and I'm here to speak on behalf of Issues 21 and 22. They're both renewals, which means we're not asking for an increase in tax to the schools. And remember the first school finance course I took, my professor said, forget about math, forget about logic, it's all politics. So I think by design, school funding is tough to understand, but I'm going to kind of give you some basics on how it relates specifically to these levies. Back in the early 90s, the community passed 2 levies that we combined in 1991 and 1992 for operating our district. In 2012, we passed a much smaller levy for about 3 mills and also for operating the district. Now what happens is every so many years we have to go back to the community and continue to ask you to continue to pay for us, I live here too, to continue to pay those taxes. But the part that I think a lot of folks don't understand is, as a district, we cannot collect any more than we originally collected when these were originally passed. So we're not asking for additional money. We're asking for folks to continue to pay, for our taxpayers to continue to pay what we agreed to, what you agreed to, I inherited it, in 1991 and in 2012. So again, it's not a new tax. Taxes won't go up as a result to the schools, but for us it's critical. It represents about $14 million a year for the district. When it was originally passed, it was almost 24 mills, which is just a percentage of all the property in the district. But because property values have gone up, we can't collect any more than was originally passed, so the amount we ask for you in terms of a percentage goes down. So again, not a new tax. As a district, we did, I say, account for $10 million coming into this year. And when I say account for as opposed to cut, because it was a combination of cuts and additional savings that we were allowed to go. For example, our health care, we restructured, went with a different company, I should say, and saved a lot of money in health insurance. Our enrollment went up. And for us, it's a statement because we had 2 different independent firms who give us enrollment projections, so we can plan for the future in some way that's appropriate. Both of those groups came back with the fact that we should expect this year to have about 5,400 students, pre-K through 12. Right now we have about 6,200. So that does increase the amount of money we get from the state, but it's also a statement, to me anyway, that we're beginning to regain the trust and continue to earn the trust of our community when our families choose to come back. So again, for us, this is a huge deal. We got cut from the federal taxes. We took a big hit in state taxes coming into this year in terms of money to the district, and the county just passed $1 million cut to the district as well. So we've got some growing to do. We've got some decisions to make, but without this levy, it'd be catastrophic for our families. So please support our district in not a new tax, but issues 21 and 22. Thank you.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to get started with our first race. It is for Lorain City Council, Ward 6. The candidates for this race are Angel Arroyo Jr., Democrat, and Aaron C. Knapp, Republican. It'll be, I believe, Aaron's first time running for office, and Angel has been in council before. So we welcome both of you, and we're going to start with opening statements. And we'd like to start with Mr. Arroyo. Your opening statement, you will have 1 minute for each question, and 1 minute to introduce yourself, and 1 minute to close.
All right, thank you. Good evening. My name is Angel Arroyo. I'm the 6th Ward candidate and also the 6th Ward councilman for South Lorain. I'll keep this brief and not too long. This is not my first rodeo here with Chip or in City Council, and I have the experience. At the time when I first came on City Council, we had a budget, and probably we'll talk about it, but we had a deficit. And as a rookie councilman coming on to City Council, I didn't run, I didn't claim victim, I stood strong, we were able to fight the problems, and we were able to bring our city out of the deficit and the positive and continue to move forward. So during these next few minutes during our conversation, you'll hear some of the plans that we have, some of my experience, and what I will continue to do as your city councilman.
Okay, Mr. Knapp, your opening statement, please.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Aaron Knapp, and as everyone is well aware, this is my first time here, and I do appreciate everybody having us tonight. I'm a social worker, and I ended up addressing everybody through street repairs in Lorain. One of my big issues has always been infrastructure within the city. I am running because I wanted to step up and I wanted to serve my community. I've lived in South Lorain now for over 5 years. My daughter goes to school here. She attends high school here at this high school, and I want to make this place the best place it can possibly be. And I think that a little fresh blood wouldn't hurt to have on council. So thank you very much, and I hope to enlighten you tonight.
Thank you, Mr. Knapp. The first question will be addressed to you, Mr. Knapp, and that question is, currently, citizens are allowed time to cite concerns, grievances to the Lorain City Council. However, council does not respond after being addressed. Do you agree with this procedure? Why or why not?
I don't agree with the procedure, actually. I believe that citizens have the right to be heard. They should be heard. I believe that the citizens should get a longer time, actually 3 minutes, and if we have to stay, we have to stay, because that's who we work for. And I think a lot of people have forgotten that along the way, that we work for the citizens. So to merely sit up there and dismiss them and say, oh, we don't take comments here, or we only take comments here, we don't answer questions, that's unacceptable. And so what I'd like to see happen is an open forum where we can actually address these issues and have the citizens have a time to be heard and to have their concerns addressed. Because currently there's no way to really address your concerns other than email, and usually those don't get answered. So thank you, and I understand your frustration as a citizen.
Thank you, Mr. Knapp. Mr. Arroyo, the same question.
Appreciate you asking that question. My first term on City Council, the City Council had zero opportunity for City Council to speak at any meeting besides a committee meeting. Within the first, I want to say 5 months, it was brought to City Council, and I voted for it to be approved. It was not approved by other City Council members. Before I left City Council, it was brought to City Council again, and I voted again for residents of the City of Lorain to continue to speak at City Council meetings. So yes, I support this 100%, and yes, I do believe that city members should be able to speak longer. And if they have a concern, they're more than welcome to come to the committee meetings, but at the same time, 100% believe that city members should speak and should have a longer time to speak as City Council members, and I've stood behind that 100% since being in office.
to your second question, Mr. Arroyo, we're going to start with you. What do you believe would be the greatest challenge for the city of Lorain during the next 2 years, and how should it be addressed?
So I continue to believe that we are fighting an uphill battle, but are still continue to move forward as a city. Some of the battles that we have, and we're going to see over the next few years, is going to be that budget again. We're going to have to figure out how to hold a budget and continue to promote our community. That's something that, again, I have the history in our city council with fighting a budget in the negative and being able to not only fight to keep our budget, but fight to keep our firefighters and police officers working without having to send them home. Also, another big issue in our city is going to continue to be our infrastructure. It's going to be our streets. And over the last 4 years and 8 months, I can say in South Lorain, we've gotten over $5 million of new streets while I'm the city councilman. I can say that over the last 10 years, starting from 2016, that we've gotten over $8 million in new sewer lines. So yes, we have some issues, but yes, you have the experience sitting right here as your city councilman to continue to fight these battles.
Thank you, Mr. Arroyo. Now, Mr. Knapp, the same question. If elected, how do you hope to what do you believe will be the greatest challenge for the city of Lorain during the next 2 years, and how should it be addressed?
Number one, obviously, is the budget. I've already rewritten a proposed budget for the city of Lorain that reduces the amount of spending. The main issue that we have right now is that we're spending way too much money on our administrative staff. Like 80% of our budget goes to the administrative staff. And what exactly are they doing for us besides trying to throw us in jail or denying records requests? So what I hope to bring to City Council is an ability to actually show some transparency in those matters so that the people are represented properly by a government that hears them and a government that wants to spend money in an appropriate way. The fact that we are spending so much money on lawsuits because no one bothers to get trained or care about themselves or their city is a problem for me. So I think that's the biggest issue moving forward, is to get a budget that's in the black for once. I do agree that the current incarnation of council and the previous incarnations of council have definitely led us into this deficit. So yeah, the experience that you have sitting at this table is how to make a deficit, in my opinion. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Knapp. Okay, we'll move on to the next question, and we will begin this question, kind of a follow-up with you. Mr. Knapp, we'll start with you. Question number 7 on your sheet. If you could change one thing in the way council meetings are conducted, what would it be and why?
Only one? Well, I think the big issue that I have with council, and I don't want to readdress the fact that we're not speaking directly to council, to the citizenry. I believe that right now we have too many power struggles going on within the actual council itself. Too many people questioning the president, too many people within city council who have strife. The whole reason why we have diversity in PERT classes is because previous incarnations of council can't be polite to each other. So I think the one thing I would change is maybe make council a little bit nicer to each other and make sure that they follow their own rules that they write at the beginning of every one of their 2-year terms.
Thank you, Mr. Knapp. Mr. Arroyo, if you could change one thing in the way council meetings are conducted, what would it be and why?
I think the only thing that I would change, because city council is run, we're there to address issues. We're not there to kumbaya. We're there to make sure that our situations that we handle with our residents, that we handle them correctly. And if we disagree, that's perfectly fine. A debate is always good. I would think so, right? That's what you like. So I think a debate would be perfectly fine. So it's okay that we don't always get along. The main thing for us to do is to make sure that we get everything correct for the citizens of the city of Lorain. So the only thing that I would change, because we're there to handle the issues, is probably add a little bit more time for residents to speak, which is something I've been in support of since the beginning of my time in city council. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Arroyo. The next question will be addressed to Mr. Arroyo first, which is number 10 on your sheet. How do you feel about undocumented workers in terms of the current tactics being deployed by ICE in communities around the country?
I've never been shy to speak about ICE and my disagreement with ICE harassing families that have been in our communities working. I've also always been outspoken about if you get caught doing something like crossing the border, then you have to be able to deal with the issues that come along with that. But at the same time, we have to look at every single issue separately because people come for different reasons. If it takes 9, 12, 18, or 24 months to come to our country because there's some chaos or some danger going on in your community, then we have to also start a fast process to be able to let those citizens, for their safety, if they're law-abiding citizens, to be able to stay here. And for our government to be attacking citizens that have been here 20 or 30 years, working, taking care of their family, is a crime itself. We talk about, or they talked about, wanting to build a wall, but more importantly, sending all of our ICE agents to cities to pick up supposedly rapists, murderers, and sexual offenders like they've done in Sandusky, like they've done in other areas in our city. It's time for us to stand up and say, go back and protect our border. I stand behind that 100%, and if you've been here for that long working and providing, then I demand that our children be able to keep their parents because they have a right to keep their parents because those family members have not been doing anything besides possibly being undocumented. And I know that frustrates some people, but I'm not afraid to say that. We are all undocumented at one time, and so I stand by those that have been here providing for our families, and if ICE wants to come to Lorain, I have no problem standing against them harassing our families that have been here working.
Thank you, Mr. Arroyo. Mr. Knapp, the same question. How do you feel about undocumented workers in terms of the current tactics being deployed by ICE in communities around the country?
Well, actually, there's two questions there that need to be addressed. One is, how do you feel about undocumented workers? And the other one is how they're being treated by ICE. I believe there's a process for everybody to become documented. I believe that everybody has the right to citizenship and should be treated with equal respect. I typically disagree with my Republican counterparts on most matters when it comes to this, including the way ICE is handling matters. I don't think that ICE has the right to go around just grabbing citizens off the street, undocumented or documented alike. There's still due process. We have that thing in America, a constitution and due process that everybody deserves. And so when you start yanking people off the street, and that's what we're doing, mind you, it's not just, just because somebody looks a certain color, we don't just pull them off the street and put them into holding and then disappear them from the country. So I have a very big issue with the way things are being handled right now. And as a social worker, I can't stand behind persecuting any person, people, or culture. So I don't stand by it. And I was glad when Sheriff Hall initially refused to cooperate with ICE without some sort of a mandate from the government that released him from that. So thank you very much.
Okay, so that concludes the question portion, but you will both get 1 minute for closing statements. Mr. Knapp, we'll start with you.
Well, for everybody out there, I mean, if you haven't found me on the internet, you've probably seen me around town. I believe that change is necessary, and as a social worker, change is what I bring. And it may not be the most welcome thing for a lot of people, but we have rules, we have laws, and we're supposed to follow them for a reason. Tonight you're going to hear from judges, you're going to hear from city leaders, you've heard from the sheriff. All of us follow rules, and we all follow the laws. And I think some of us have forgotten about that along the way. And the way that you fix that is by electing somebody that is an outsider, or as my friend Lorain Ritchie would say, a Johnny-come-lately. I am a Johnny-come-lately, and maybe that's what you need here. Somebody that's not stuck in the mire of what you've already been dealing with every single day. Look around. The corruption is everywhere. And you have no further to look than your government that's there right now. I'm not them. Thank you.
Thank you. And Mr. Arroyo, your 1 minute.
I appreciate it. I think it's clear and simple where we stand. I've only been back on city council for 9 months. And in them 9 months, we've started to see more progress in South Lorain. Mr. Knapp is correct. I haven't been around for the last 5 years. You have. And there has been no progress besides a few videos seen on social media. But in the last 9 months, you could say that there's been $800,000 new dollars, or $1.3 million new dollars in new roads that's been going on. You could say that in the last few weeks, there's been conversations about the Save-A-Lot property for new businesses going on. You could say that during my time in council, during my 4 years on council, that we've had over $250,000 in Oakwood Park when they wanted to destroy Oakwood Park. We've had new sewer lines, new water lines, $2.4 million in new safety vehicles in the city of Lorain, with $350,000 of a new fire truck for South Lorain. So when you want to talk about somebody that has been active and has been around, that knows the city, that knows the history, we took out water lines in South Lorain that were wooden in my first term. So that's somebody that's active. That's someone that's not afraid to say, you know what, I blew it, I messed up, but I'm back again, and I'm here. I carry this coin. Why? Because it gives me the strength to continue to do what I could do and moving forward. So I ask you to vote on November 4th for the experience, for someone that's been able to make action happen from the beginning and is not afraid to make any comments face to face, that's here. And if you see me on social media, say something, but if you see me in person, don't hold your tongue. Vote for me on November 4th. God bless you.
All right, thank you, Mr. Knapp and Mr. Arroyo. That concludes the Lorain City Council's 6th Ward race. We're going to take a short break as we transition to the Lorain City Clerk of Courts.
Hey, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. And we're now going to cover the Lorain City Clerk of Courts. And we're going to begin with opening statements, and we will begin with Mr. Brooks.
My name is Kyrese Brooks, and I'm running for Clerk of Courts. And I'm running for Clerk of Courts to transform the office and make it more accessible. And I believe that now is the time for change, and that people need to get out of their comfort zones and vote for something new, fresh blood into these offices. Not to knock anybody, just saying our city deserves change, and our city deserves someone that will get in and fight for them.
Thank you. Mr. Kalo, your opening statement?
Again, thanks to Chip for having this forum. I've enjoyed it over the years. I am Ted Kalo. I'm your current Lorain Municipal Clerk of Court. I have been in the position almost 7 years. I was appointed in 2019 to... Can't hear. Start all over again?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, start it again.
I am Ted Kalo. I am your Lorain Municipal Clerk of Court. I've been in the position almost 7 years. I was appointed to fill the unexpired term of the past clerk who had retired, and I was elected in November of 19 for this term. My opponent talks about bringing new things to the office. When I got there in 2019, it was in disarray. It had a bad case management system that had gone corrupt. The builders of the system had gone bankrupt. The clerk had been determined to have inauditable books for 6 years because the system didn't work. I was there less than 3 months. We had worked on the financial system. We found over $675,000 been dispersed improperly to the county. After 6 years in a lawsuit, we brought that money back to the city of Lorain and the state of Ohio. Experience matters in this race. As I said, I've got over 20 years experience in government service, and most of it in financials, from running county government as a county commissioner to now handling the financials and the records of the court. And I'd appreciate your support this year. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kalo. The first question will be number 4 on your sheet. As a clerk of courts, you will most likely have to handle stressed out, angry, or frustrated individuals on a regular basis. Please share any experiences you have had interacting in this type of environment.
It happens all the time in the court's office. People get arrested, they're not familiar with the system, and we wish they wouldn't be. But for a lot of people, it's a traumatic experience, whether it's defendants questioning their fines or families trying to bond out their loved ones from being in jail for being arrested. It happens a few times a week, and I've got an amazing staff who knows how to work with those people. But when it rises to a higher level, I sometimes have to step in, and we've dealt with it, and we do it professionally, and we are very customer service oriented. I come out of retail sales. I own a floor covering store for almost 30 years. We talk to people like they should be talked to, and we give them the options what they need to do. We had a big problem for a few years. The last county prosecutor said sheriff's deputies couldn't accept money for bonds, so after-hours bonding became very difficult. Your loved one got arrested at 8 o'clock at night, they couldn't get out till the next day when we opened. So working with the sheriff's department, I put together an after-hours bonding process that now all the other courts in the community have adopted, so people don't have to stay in jail when they don't need to.
Thank you, Mr. Kalo. Mr. Brooks, if you were to be elected as clerk of courts, you will most likely have to handle stressed out, angry, or frustrated individuals on a regular basis. Please share any experiences you have had or would think encountering you would in this type of environment.
So yeah, I come from the educational background, 12 years in education and behavior management, dealing with kindergarten all the way up to 12th grade, even adults. And it's called being trauma informed. You have to be trauma informed in this community. A lot of our families, a lot of our people that are in the court system deal with a lot of trauma. So if you're not trauma informed, then you will make the situation worse. So I would definitely bring all of those skills, all of my training, all of my certificates, as they call them, into this office by being trauma informed and helping our families.
Okay, for your next question, starting with you, Mr. Brooks, it's going to be number 8 on your sheet. How would you communicate a complex legal procedure to someone who is not familiar with the legal system?
Well, for one, I would not give them legal advice. I would show them and point them in the right direction, that someone that may be able to help them. Because as the clerk, you should not be giving no one legal advice.
All right, thank you. Mr. Kalo, same question. How would you communicate? I'm so sorry. How would you communicate a complex legal procedure to someone who is not familiar with the legal system?
Well, the clerk's office is not allowed to give legal advice. We are not attorneys, but we can give them direction. Which paper, if it's civil, we can show them which paperwork they need to fill out. If they need criminal issues taken care of, we then refer them to legal aid, who can then represent them.
Thank you, Mr. Kalo. Okay, we'll move on to our next question. It is number 3 on your sheet, and we will begin with Mr. Kalo. Mr. Kalo, if elected, what considerations will determine who will get to retain their jobs and who will be asked to leave once you take office?
Well, at this point, hopefully entering my second full term, we're not going to have any changes in the office unless someone decides to leave me for a better position. As I said earlier, I have an amazing staff from my chief deputy all the way down. It's a diverse office. We have 5 bilingual speakers in the office to help those who with Spanish-speaking needs. We have African Americans, we have Caucasians, a staff of 14 full-time, 2 part-time, and it's a 50-50 split. So none of my office is leaving unless they so choose.
Thank you. Mr. Brooks, if you're elected, what considerations will determine who you will retain in their jobs and who will be asked to leave office once you take office?
Again, I'm a firm believer in that no one should be unemployed. So I will truly give everyone that opportunity. If they choose to stay, then they can stay. And if they choose to resign, they can do so as well. I will leave that up to them.
Thank you, Mr. Brooks. The next question is number 10. Tell us about a time when you led a team to complete a difficult task. What was the outcome?
Repeat it.
Okay, yes. Tell us about a time when you led a team to complete a difficult task. What was the outcome?
Well, when I was in public school in Cleveland, I was over behavior, the whole behavior team. And in Cleveland, there's a lot of gun violence and things like that in the schools out there. And we had to come up with a solution to us being on lockdown because there was a gun in a building. So I led them through that process, the whole building, all 1,500 students, and we called the police and did all those steps, things like that, and we made it through.
Thank you. Mr. Kalo, the same question. Tell us about a time when you led a team to complete a difficult task. What was the outcome?
Well, we've had a few of those, whether it was in my career as a county commissioner, with the fight with Cuyahoga County and NOAC, our Metropolitan Planning Organization, getting the Avon interchange finally approved for the county, which was tons of economic development. We almost blew up the organization at the time. But also working as a clerk of court, just coming into the office to begin with, and the issues with the computer system and the old receipts, and getting the team together to find all the financial issues and getting all of our files in order, becoming in compliance with all of the federal and state agencies, reporting of NICS, which is the background checks for guns, reporting of ITN numbers to the state of Ohio, because the police department's live scan, which takes that all in, somebody had worked on it a year prior and turned off the printing mechanism, so we weren't getting any of the reports for finishing cases and filing them with dispositions. So putting together a team and working hard to get to the outcome you need has been something I've worked on for a long time in all my different areas of management.
Thank you. Now we will go into closing statements, starting with you, Mr. Kalo. You will have your 1 minute.
Again, thank you very much. Thanks for those who've attended, and thank you for tuning in on our local TV channel. I've been your clerk of courts for almost 7 years. I have done the job that needed to be done. I have put the office back on the path moving forward. We've installed a new case management system. The state auditors actually love our financials. We've had no filings against us in over 4 years since we fixed the books. The office is moving forward. I've been endorsed by multiple labor unions, and I also received the endorsement of the Chronicle Telegram. The Chronicle said my opponent had a nice background in social work, but didn't have the skill set to manage a complex operation like we have. And I've shown in 7 years I'm the man to do the job, and they've recommended that people vote for me going forward. Experience matters, folks, and I humbly ask for your vote on November 4th. Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Brooks, your 1 minute.
People should vote for me because we have an opportunity, a historical opportunity to affect change. We have the opportunity to bring change into this office, and if not now, then when? I have been a vocal advocate for this community since 2013, and I have become a symbol of that change that I wish to see and the desire that I wish to change within this community. Also, I would like to say that you should vote for me because sometimes change is uncomfortable, but it's time for change. And I'm so tired of people always saying that I don't have the experience. If you never put me in a position, how can I ever get the experience? So now is the time to vote to get them out and bring the change. Get out and vote for Brooks. Thank you.
Thank you so much. That concludes the Lorain City Clerk of Courts, and now we'll take a short break as we move into the Oberlin Municipal Court Judge race.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we are back, and we are now going to cover the Oberlin Municipal Court Judge. This will be our first time covering Municipal Court Judge in Oberlin, but both candidates here have been in Lorain a lot, courting a vote which I'm not even allowed to give, I noticed when I went to vote today. But they're here, and we wanted to include them in the race. And I also, before we begin the questions for this race, we do not advertise this event because the only audience that we care about right now would be the camera, so that the people of Lorain County could get to know why they're running, who's running, why they're running, and what they bring to the table. But we also want to acknowledge and thank our commissioners are both here. I see two of our commissioners, I believe, Commissioner Moore and Commissioner Gallagher. They've been joining us for these, whether it's a primary or whether it's the general. So we thank you both. Also, Mayor Bradley has never missed a primary and has never missed a general. So I know that he's not here tonight, but it's because it's very important. But he did grace us by sending the First Lady of Lorain, Deborah Bradley. So we thank you for coming here today. So now we're going to go ahead and get into our Oberlin Municipal Court Judge race. And we're going to begin with opening statements, and we will begin with Ms. Emeka.
Good evening, everyone. I want to say thank you to Chip for inviting us here today. My name is Farah Lillian Ameka, and I ask for your vote on November 4th. On October 3rd, the Chronicle Telegram endorsed me as the better candidate in my race. And the reason is because I have the experience. 24 years as an attorney, 8 years as the current chief prosecutor in Oberlin Municipal Court, which means I work in the court where I am running to be the judge. Also, I have leadership qualities. I am a leader in my community as the president of the Oberlin City Schools Board of Education. I've done that for 5 years. And I have managed attorneys in the Cuyahoga County Prosecutor's Office, 15 to 20 prosecutors. I oversaw their work while I worked there. The other reason is because I have the right temperament to be the judge of Oberlin Municipal Court. I have exercised the level of authority and a power that the judge has in Oberlin Municipal Court as the prosecutor. Taking into consideration many of the factors that a judge has to consider when I'm deciding whether or not to file a case or continue to prosecute or pursue a case. For those reasons, I ask for your vote on November 4th.
Thank you, Ms. Ameka. Mr. Ramsey, your opening statement, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, Coalition for Hispanic Issues in Progress. Really appreciate the invitation. My name is Richard Ramsey. My friends call me Rich. I'm also running for Oberlin Municipal Court Judge. I'm asking for your vote on November 4th. I think I have maybe the more relevant experience as it relates to this position. I've operated my own law practice for more than 20 years. I've been in private practice. I've had employees. I've managed the work that goes along with that. I'm also an experienced public servant. I was a 3-term. I had to retire 6 months short of the end of my 3rd term because I had to run for this position, but served as city treasurer where I had to collect the city's money. And when I started, we were at roughly $15 million. When I finished, we were at roughly $30 million in the bank. I've also had to be the income tax administrator, so I had to deal with people requesting income tax abatements, and I had to make decisions concerning how to essentially, I guess for lack of a better word, prosecute any income tax non-payments and so forth. So I think I've shown that being given some authority by the government that I could handle the position. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Ramsey. The first question is going to be number 9. Does a judge have any obligation when they realize that a defense attorney is exceedingly unprepared in his or her defense of a defendant? If so, what do you feel is the obligation of the judge in this situation in terms of a defendant's right to a fair trial? Mr. Ramsey. Yes.
Okay. I think this is a great example of why judges have chambers. I think one of the primary responsibilities of the judge is to protect the constitutional rights of the people in court. And that would include the accused, and one of the issues might be their ineffective assistance of counsel at the trial. So I think in order to sort of stave off any issues that might result in the case that you're working on being subject to appeal, it would be important maybe to go in chambers, have a conversation with counsel. You'd have to have both counsel. You don't do just one, but have both attorneys in there where we can kind of talk with the pressure off and say, what do you need to do in order to make yourself competent? Lawyers have a duty to make themselves competent or they're going to be forced to withdraw from the case, and that's part of our code of professional responsibility. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Emeka, the same question. Does a judge have any obligation when they realize that a defense attorney is exceedingly unprepared in his or her defense of a defendant? If so, what do you feel is the obligation of the judge in this situation in terms of a defendant's right to a fair trial?
Thank you. Yes, a judge does have an obligation to address an issue if there is actually one. Most answers to questions asked of folks in the legal field, it depends. And so first, a judge has to be careful not to make sure that they're not kind of substituting their own judgment or professional judgment from their time as a lawyer for that of the attorneys that are before them. Once the judge is clear that this is a real issue that can impact the defendant, it is important for the judge to inquire. I would agree that it should happen in chambers. However, prior to getting to the point where you're in the middle of a hearing or in the middle of a trial, finding that an attorney is really unprepared, the court should be inquiring of the parties at pretrial to get a little bit of a understanding of the evidence, the positions that each party is going to take in the trial, and make sure that they are prepared to go further a little bit earlier on. If you get to the point where it looks like it's a real problem and the defendant's rights would be violated, then the judge has a few options. They can offer a continuance. They can, if it's egregious, put another attorney in place to represent the defendant, or if it's in the middle of the trial, the judge can declare a mistrial.
All right, thank you so much. And for your second question, it's going to be number 4 on your sheet, starting with you, Ms. Emeka. How would you advise a judge that came to you because he or she had to support a legal position that was contrary to their personal moral belief?
So I would advise the judge, and I myself as judge would first honor the Constitution. The judge's role is not to make the law. The judge's role is to take the facts and apply them to the law as it is written. And so that's what I would advise that judge to do, and that's what I would do on the bench. If you really have an issue with a rule or that's in place, that's been promulgated by the legislature, there are avenues, appropriate ones for a judge and residents of the community to express that concern. And so I would then advise that judge to, as appropriate, maybe go and testify or talk to their local representatives to let them know how the law might actually play out in practice. Sometimes the legislature issues rules that don't necessarily operate the way they think they do in the courtroom. Other than that, whether you agree with it morally, philosophically, it is the law. The judge is tasked with and actually put on the bench to follow the law, and that's what I would advise that judge to do, and that is what I would do.
Thank you. Mr. Ramsey, same question.
So when I read this question, I kind of thought that would be a typo, because I was thinking to myself, under what circumstances would a judge, under what circumstances would a judge have to go to another judge? I thought, because the answer is clear, and Ms. Emeka said it. You have to follow the law. If it were an attorney coming to me, I think then, because that's sort of the way that I thought the question was going to be posed. So I guess I'll answer a question not asked of me, and that is, sometimes as attorneys we have to take on positions that maybe aren't things that we necessarily agree with. For example, if you're court appointed to represent someone accused of rape, obviously you would have a strong opinion about the evil nature of that offense, and you may have some conflict in having to deal with that person, but I think you would have to comfort that attorney, understanding that our system's set up that way. Everybody is entitled to their day in court. Everybody's entitled to the best case presented on their behalf. And the truth should will out. And that's how we sort of find justice. So thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ramsey. Our next question, and we'll begin with Mr. Ramsey, is question 11. Should the cultural competence of staff have any relevance to a sitting judge? Why or why not? And if your answer is yes, what steps might you take to ensure that your staff and other relevant court personnel are culturally competent when dealing with a diverse community? And we will begin with Mr. Ramsey.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I think competence in general is a very important quality. And that's supposed to include everything from understanding the different cultures of the people that come into the court, understanding the people, because we are there to serve the public. We're there to help them resolve disputes that they can't resolve on their own, ultimately. So I think it is very important, especially if you might have to be cognizant of language barriers. If people speak different languages, you're going to want to make sure that the court is prepared to handle that. In terms of just understanding people in general, I try to just treat everybody equally, fairly, and I would expect my staff to do the same kind of thing. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ramsey. Ms. Emeka, same question.
So yes, I agree that cultural competence in the staff is important for a sitting judge, and the way that I would ensure that is to first make sure that we have open application processes in the court to ensure that the staff actually reflects and represents the diversity of the community, the different backgrounds that are reflected in the community. Once that happens, I would expect that all staff in the court would be professional and be respectful of everyone who comes through the doors for whatever reason. And then if in doing that, I find staff that are struggling with those issues, then I would, and it's egregious, then I would look to have some training for staff to just ensure that they are approaching their jobs in a way that they don't make someone's day worse than it already is. Coming to court is something that a lot of people don't do. They don't want to do that. When I'm out in the community, they talk about, it's nice to meet you, I don't want to see you again, because they don't want to meet the prosecutor and they don't want to meet the judge in court. And so it's important that our staff treat everyone with respect and understand that it is a difficult day for a lot of folks when they come into the court, and so they should treat them fairly and professionally.
Thank you. The next question, Ms. Emeka, this will be for you. It's not question 2. It's please describe the most challenging ethical dilemma you have encountered within the legal profession and how you dealt with it.
So I'll talk about a recent ethical dilemma that I've had as a very active member of the community that makes up the Oberlin Court's jurisdiction. I have conflicts that arise, and so as the president of the school board, we are tasked with overseeing the proper transfer of and ownership of the properties that are owned by the district. One of those such properties is an elementary school that we are trying to sell. Because it is sitting right now unsold, there are folks that like to vandalize the property, break into the property, and at times they can actually be charged with a crime. So recently there was an individual that I've known from the community since they were a young person who broke into the school and was actually charged with a crime in our court. Well, as the president of the school board and someone who knew that individual personally, I had a major conflict and asked that a special prosecutor step in to handle that case so that I would not prejudice it in any way.
Thank you, Ms. Emeka. Mr. Ramsey, the same question. Please describe the most challenging ethical dilemma you have encountered within the legal profession and how you dealt with it.
This was difficult. I've never really faced a whole lot of ethical dilemmas in the practice. I can maybe speak to one of the ethical concerns that I had to deal with in my practice. As I said back maybe 22 years or so ago, one of the first things I did was get on the court-appointed list with Judge Januzzi in Oberlin Municipal Court. So I handled a lot of criminal defense cases back then. And at one point, I was one of the only attorneys in the city of Amherst, so I got a fair amount of the Amherst cases. And when I ran for and was elected treasurer of the city of Amherst, I became a public official for the city. So I effectively had a conflict of interest with any Amherst cases. I could therefore no longer accept any kind of criminal matters where the Amherst Police Department were the arresting agency on the cases. So, but that was just something that I had to do and was willing to do because that was the right thing to do. So, thank you.
Okay, so that concludes the questions. Now we're going to move to closing statements. Starting with you, Mr. Ramsey, you'll have your 1 minute.
Thank you. I really appreciate everybody's attention. I really appreciate everybody's support this year. I am running for judge. I am asking for your vote November 4. Again, I think I have the qualities in terms of experience and education, the ability to serve the public. But I also want to talk about, I think, my personality. I'm pretty even-keeled. I give everybody a shot. I listen to everybody. I treat people fairly. I do everything I can to just listen, and I think I have some skills in maybe explaining things to people that maybe might not understand what's going on, because this can be a very intimidating kind of thing. And I think I've also shown that, given that I was sort of vested with the authority to collect income taxes from a whole populace, I use that authority with reason and control. So I hope that those kinds of things have earned my trust in your eyes and in your minds, and I ask for your vote. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ramsey. Ms. Emeka, your 1 minute.
Thank you so much to all of the voters who are out there watching. Appreciate you tuning in and learning more about this position and the candidates. When you're thinking about the next judge for Oberlin Municipal Court, you want someone who you are comfortable and believe understands the weight of the responsibility and the power that they have and the impact they will have on people's lives when rendering decisions in the court. I am that person. I have been centered in the community for so many years here in Lorain County and in the court's jurisdiction. I understand the issues that are facing the people who live in the court's jurisdiction and the type of cases that come into the court. When you want to talk about relevant experience, I was in Oberlin Municipal Court today, all day, handling cases. I make decisions about cases in that court similar to the types of decisions that a judge has to make, just at a different point in the process. I am a community-oriented person, and I have the community behind me. That is represented in the fact that I was endorsed by the Chronicle Telegram. I was endorsed by the Lorain County AFL-CIO. I was endorsed by the UAW CAP Council as well as the Laborers International Union. State Representative Joe Miller has endorsed me, as well as many local government officials have endorsed me. The community is behind me because they understand that I will keep the people at the core of the work that I do in the court. My name is Farah Lillian Emeka, and I ask for your vote on November 4th.
Thank you both so much. That concludes the Oberlin Municipal Court judge race. We're going to take a short break as we transition to the Lorain City School Board.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. And as we cover our final race of the night, and that is for the Lorain City School Board. And before we begin, I would like to also acknowledge that both our first and second ward council are present now, and as they always are, whether it's a primary or general election. So I want to welcome and thank first ward councilwoman Beth Henley and second ward councilwoman Victoria Clinton. Thank you both for showing up again. Okay, so let us begin with the Lorain City School Board race, our final race of the evening, and we will begin with opening statements. And we begin with Mr. Ballard. You have 1 minute.
Good evening. Thank you for the invitation. My name is Mark Ballard II, 2012 graduate of Lorain City Schools, 2015 graduate of Morehouse College, and 2018 graduate of Mississippi College School of Law. I'm excited to be back in the community that raised me, shaped me, molded me, and excited to give back to the community, excited to give back to the next generation, and help instill just the needed change that I believe that not only the city, but our students need moving forward. So again, thank you for allowing me to be here tonight.
Thank you, Mr. Ballard. Ms. Jeffers apparently was unable to join us tonight, so we'll move to Ms. Rosario, your opening statement.
Good evening, all. Thank you for being here today. My name is Diamaris Rosario. I have lived in Lorain for 36 years. I am a graduate from Admiral King High School. I am a proud mother of 3 adult children who attended Lorain City Schools as well. My youngest 2 attended and graduated from Lorain High. They both were enrolled in the early college program through LCC and graduated with their associate's degree. They were also part of the Ohio State University Young Scholars Program. However, they chose different careers. As for myself, I was a paraprofessional for the ESL students here at the high school for 6 years. During that time, I served as the unit's vice president for the paras. I negotiated contract and attended disciplinary hearings, among other things. I have over 5 years of experience in the mental health and behavioral health field. I'm a licensed chemical dependency counselor. I have been a guardian ad litem for 13 years, serving children that are recognized as neglected and abused. I am a sexual assault advocate for Rivian for the past 2 years. I've served as the treasurer of Lorain High Marching Band School for over 4 years. I hold an associate degree in early childhood. I hold a bachelor's in social work. My goal is to serve as a bridge between the school district and the community. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Rosario. And your opening statement, Mr. Sturgill.
Hello, everyone. My name is Bill Sturgill, and I've been on the board for 16 years now. And I'm going to run one more time, which will be my last time. I'm sure of that if I'm, if I'm elected. I have my children went through this district. I went through this district, graduated in 1968, Lorain High. My children went through here. My wife went through here. My grandchildren, and I have a great-granddaughter in Lorain High School.
Thank you, Mr. Sturgill. The first question will be number 3, and Ms. Rosario, if you can answer this question, please take a minute and complete this statement. An effective school board member is that?
An effective school board member is one that can problem solve, advocate, and collaborate with the community, with the parents, the staff.
Thank you. Mr. Sturgill, the same question. Please take a minute and complete this statement. An effective school board member is one that?
I think an effective school board member just has to be a great listener. Basically, you're just listening to whatever problem somebody has, and you don't solve it yourself. Okay, you're not a school board member unless you're really in session and you have your other members with you. But what you do is you take what information that you get, you turn it over to the superintendent, and you expect him to deal with it.
Thank you. And Mr. Ballard, the same question. An effective school board member is one that?
An effective school board member is one that cares about the community, not only just the students, but the parents, grandparents, kind of the whole community-oriented just approach of care. One that's an effective leader, one that's an excellent listener, one that's willing to accept and take criticism and be able to move forward and apply it to, like I said, benefit our whole entire district, that being the students, the parents, the grandparents, everybody involved.
Okay, moving on to the next question, starting with you, Mr. Sturgill. If re-elected, what would you do to try to curb the district's current high absenteeism rate?
That is a great question, but I think we haven't solved this yet. I think parental engagement is what most people are going with, but recently in the spring we had a House Bill 410, and which says that if a parent doesn't send their child to school, and we do have a high absenteeism rate, if you don't send your child to school after so many misses, you're going to get a letter from, and you'll be going to a court system. So I think that's going to help somewhat, but basically I would rather go through the parental engagement. And I think we need to find a better way to engage all parents, a better system.
Thank you so much. Ms. Rosario, the same question.
If elected, what I would do to curb the district's current high absenteeism rate, I would look into what is the barriers that are causing the absenteeism. I will address them. I'm aware that we do the truancy. However, I know that could be very stressful on the parents, so perhaps looking for a different option instead of truancy. Like Mr. Sturgill stated, bring the families together and figuring out what are those barriers and overcoming them.
Thank you. And Mr. Ballard, the same question. If elected, what would you do to try and curb the district's current high absenteeism rate?
I believe that looking at solutions like we have VIA LC right now, which is a new transit-ish within the past year system here in Lorain. I don't believe the answer would be running the parents through the court system. I understand truancy laws and all that, But if they're in the court system, then the kids are still going to miss school because they're not going to be able to get there. So I think alternatives like partnering with VIA to provide, I don't know if it's stipends or type of vouchers for students to get rides so they don't have to miss school.
Thank you, Mr. Ballard. We'll go on to our next question, and we're going to start with Ms. Rosario. It's question number 7. This community will expect student safety to be a priority for every elected school board member. If elected, what can you as a board member promise in terms of providing for the safety of our children?
What I would do to provide the safety for our children would be make sure that we are adequately staffed regarding our safety officers. We need to make sure that every building has the appropriate personnel in it in order to be able to continue to operate safely. Also continue to train our safety officers in regards to trauma, violence, mental health. Again, just simply make sure that every building is adequately staffed and that all of our safety officers have the appropriate training.
Thank you, Ms. Rosario. Mr. Sturgill, if elected, what can you as a board member promise in terms of providing for the safety of our children?
I think we've already did this. I think that we've put quite a bit of money, and we have safety officers in the high school, in the junior high school, and we've invested. We've partnered with the Lorain Police Department to run certain scenarios, and I think we're pretty safe in Lorain City Schools. If I didn't think, I would change it. I think we've been really good since 2016. I think when 2016 came and when we did the high school, before that we didn't always have safety officers, but we changed the format, and we built a really good program, and I feel really good where we're at as far as safety.
Thank you, Mr. Sturgill. And Mr. Ballard, if elected, what can you as a board member promise in terms of providing for the safety of our children?
I think echoing what kind of everybody said, I believe if threats from the outside of the school, training our safety officers, providing them with the tools and skills needed to help protect the students. But I believe if there's any internal issues, I believe in preventative measures to kind of get ahead of the problem if students are having those internally, and provide maybe from the grade school level outlets to allow them to handle conflict in ways that doesn't have to deal with going to the police or going to the officers. And yeah, just provide that training, whether that be mental health services, whether that be coping skills, things of that nature.
Thank you, Mr. Ballard. The next question will be number 10, and this will start with Mr. Ballard on this question. Recent state data shows third grade reading proficiency at a 27.7%, yet it appears the district had an almost 100% promotion to fourth grade. We know this is a dilemma. What are your thoughts on this?
Yes, this is definitely a dilemma, and I believe that it's a disservice to the students to allow them without any kind of opportunity to kind of get extra assistance or outside assistance to just promote them through the years, because I work as a paraprofessional here in the schools, and I see it every day of we got seniors or juniors who unfortunately are reading at a first or second grade reading level. So that's not preparing them for the future. That's not preparing them for college, for trade, for being able to handle their own money, et cetera, et cetera. So I believe that there should be things in place to kind of, at a certain level, we have to provide extra care or extra assistance, whether that be through summer school, whether that be through alternative programs in partnership with the school.
Thank you. Ms. Rosario, the same question. Recent state data shows third grade reading proficiency at 27.7%, yet it appears the district had an almost 100% promotion to fourth grade. We know this is a dilemma. What are your thoughts on this?
My thoughts, I want to say does it bother me? Yes and no. Yes, it bothers me because that's a big discrepancy in numbers. However, no, it doesn't, because all students can't simply demonstrate their abilities through a test. So simply because the test is stating that they're not excelling or they're not reading at that level does not necessarily mean that they are not excelling and that they're not meeting those requirements. So I'm split between the two. Yes, because the number is a big discrepancy. No, because not everybody's a good test taker.
Thank you, Ms. Rosario. And Mr. Sturgill, the same question.
The social promotion thing in the fourth grade right now, it's kind of been a district policy that they say they promote the child and that they'll catch up in the future, and that it actually harms the child to hold them back. But my thing is, I think early on, if you're having that problem, maybe the child isn't mature enough to handle things, and I would hold the child back early on, maybe one grade, but and I think the policy is going to change in the future. But also, I mean, if my child was in that 27.7%, I would definitely think of getting a tutor of my own and having that child tutor till they're up to par. I think we can do better, and we can do better as parents.
All right, thank you. So that concludes the question portion, and you guys will each get 1 minute for closing remarks. We will start with you, Ms. Rosario. Yes.
I want to thank everyone for joining us tonight. I'm going to aim to be strong in partnerships with families, educators, and community partners. I aim to serve this community with integrity and transparency while upholding the highest standards of ethical conduct and fiscal responsibility. And I will ensure that taxpayers' dollars are used effectively and efficiently. November 4th, vote for Diamaris Rosario.
Thank you so much, Ms. Rosario. Mr. Ballard, your 1 minute.
Again, thank you for allowing me to come out and speak to everyone tonight. Again, I'm just very passionate about our community. I'm passionate about our students. I'm passionate about just the overall quality and well-being of our community. As we all know, we're 607th on the list, and that's unacceptable. And we need to strive every day to do whatever we can to get that number way, way, way up. So you got somebody who's going to fight, like I said, for our kids, for our community, in every way I can. So again, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ballard. And Mr. Sturgill, your 1 minute.
I just want to say thanks to CHIP's organization for having everybody here. I really like these candidates that you have up here, and I look forward to seeing them, and hopefully I'll get to work for them. And again, thanks to CHIP's for this event so that everybody gets heard. Thank you.
Thank you so much, and that concludes the Lorain City School Board race. And now we will close it out with our president of CHIP, Juanita Senkis.
Thank you. Thank you for everyone coming out tonight, and for those that are watching live. Well, we appreciate that. CHIP is here. Anything you ever need anything with, please let us know. As we conclude tonight, I would like to thank Lorain City Schools and Dr. Jeff Graham, Mike Pichata, TV 20, the Lorain High School maintenance staff, the ACE project volunteer. I don't know if there any of them are here or not. I also would like to thank Mike Fidel, Alicia Pardon, Carmen Levis, the moderators, timekeeper Pablo Senkis, and Dylan Anderson, and also Sylvia Anderson, who was helping up front. Don't forget to vote on November 4th. Your vote is your voice. Thank you, and good night.
Hey guys,